dogs. Well, not really, because that'd be really noisy, you know. Meow, whoop, meow, whoop. I'd feel bad for the dogs. I don't really care much about the cats, though. Anyway, got Great Plains Hunter here in 50 caliber. Got my Norenko M305 M14 and my VTR 597. Oh, I forgot to put the magazine in. All of them are unloaded. Different rifles for WROL, that type of thing. And even not WROL, financial collapse, whatever you want to call it. Let's say there's just downright a financial collapse, which is, you know, a very, very highly likely thing in this day and age, or extreme austerity to the point where you just cannot eat. What are advantages of different calibers and stuff like that in that type of scenarios? Well, that's economy shooting. This is practical, and that thing just shoots out kill rounds. It makes big holes. You're going from your 30 caliber, your 20 caliber, 30 caliber, 50 caliber. You know what I'm saying? The thing is with the black powder rifles, are they reliable enough? I think they're reliable enough. In fact, they have a lot of huge advantages in the sense that you don't have to worry about brass casings. Technically, the barrel is the casing. So you reload these things by making black powder. The only downside to these, unless you have a flintlock, which I'm eventually going to get a flintlock. If you have a flintlock, you don't have to worry as much because you can make a flint, you know, or find flint on the ground. You know, even if it only works for one shot, you know, it's a very low-tech system. It kind of works no matter what. Black powder's really not that different. It's basically, you know, charcoal, nitrate, and what's the third one? Sulfur, saltpeter, sulfur basically. So saltpeter, charcoal, and a nitrate. It's relatively easy to make, dangerous to make. So if you're one of those people that's, you know, want to make this stuff or whatever, do a lot of research on it. Is it legal to make this stuff? I don't know. I don't think so. Well, at least here in Canada, I don't think it'd be illegal. I don't know. I don't know. Telling people how to make it might, oh, you're telling people how to be resourceful? You're a terrorist, you know. But anyway, the black powder, you know, I do definitely recommend one of those in your arsenal for, let's say, just a financial collapse. Not that everybody's out going crazy or whatever, but you just need to eat, and you need to go out and hunt something. Well, there's a lot of advantages. Even though this is a rifle barrel, it does become, you know, it's the equivalent of a slug gun. You can shoot anywhere from a 200 grain right up to, you know, a ridiculous heavy grain bullets out of this thing. I got 405 grain hollow point bullets coming out of this sucker. I can't wait to do some accuracy testing with them, and also too, just to see what kind of damage they do. Yeah, the fun factor is there. As smelly as they are, they're a lot of fun. Low tech kind of works no matter what. And relatively cheap to shoot, depending on what use. The other thing is again, going down, if you get a mold, you can cast lead rounds for this thing, or even, you know, let's say your copper rounds or whatever. You can shoot marbles out of this sucker, although it's not recommended. You can shoot, if you could stuff it down the barrel, you can pretty much shoot it out of these things. Not good for the barrel. You know, obviously use proper ammunition. But we're talking in a financial collapse where you just cannot get a hold of regular ammo. Or regular ammo, you're saving it for something else. Now, as a defense weapon, well, obviously, you know, as long as you only had to take the one shot and it was loaded, ready to go, it could probably work for that. But this is pretty much a hunting tool. And again, it's, you know, just that idea of people becoming more self-reliant, and not only just becoming self-reliant, having an effective tool to be self-reliant. There is not an animal on the planet that you cannot kill with a well-placed shot from this thing. I mean, you know, okay, you might not stop a charging elephant with it, definitely not. But behind a shoulder shot, you would definitely kill an elephant with this. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. So it has enough power. Any animal that's ever been on it, you could shoot a brontosaurus with this thing. It might take him a week to bleed out, but he would still die if you shot him with this thing. You know, it's a big boomstick, and it's a lot of fun to shoot. But again, that low tech, it works no matter. You can make your own gunpowder. If you get a mold for it, I don't have molds for it, but I'm still debating whether I'm going to keep this thing or not. You know, because I do want a flintlock. I really do want a flintlock. That little spark you see, that's just the water pump kicking on and off. But I do want a flintlock, so you know, the whole idea with the flintlock is that, again, it's just that low tech. You're using pretty much the raw resources to make it go bang, like a flint, raw gunpowder, and and then a projectile, whatever you can fit down the barrel. If you buy BBs, you got yourself a shotgun as well. It's a one-shot wonder, but it's a one hell of a shot. So I definitely recommend black powder. Now let's get a little bit more. Let's say it's a stage 2 kind of category where, okay, people are now starving to death. There's not enough deer around because you got poachers that are going to cash in on the idea of an economic collapse. They're going to go out and they're going to see 6 deer. They're going to shoot them and try to sell the meat. Half the meat's probably going to go bad. And then, of course, the deer don't replenish quick enough to, like in the Depression. I mean, people were down to eating like chipmunks and squirrels because there was nothing else left. All the big game had gone. And even the natives, 100 years, 200 years ago, they had problems too because what they would normally do is the hunting party would go out way far from the tribe and work their way back through the season, so that they were always working their way back, and then around through the winters they would hunt the local game. If they hunted the local game during the summer, they would have nothing for the winter. So nowadays people, if they can't get to it by a four-wheeler, they don't go. Back in the day, you did everything on foot, and you had to be, you had to know how to bring home food. And you also had to be conservation about it. You couldn't just kill everything and eat it. It'd be a very short term. And the other thing I want to explain about hunting to people that think that hunting is that easy. Most people will starve to death in a financial collapse just due to the fact that hunting is that difficult, regardless of what you have. But also too, this shoots a .308 caliber, so you're more likely to come across a .308 caliber in a Doomsday than you are a just about anything else, even including black powder. Not everybody up here has black powder, although it is very popular around here. Not everybody has it. But in black powder, the 50 cal is definitely the most popular in Canada. And then probably the 45 would be the next. In the long guns, in the pistols, maybe 45. But 308, very popular. 308, 30-06, very popular hunt cartridges. 303 British, very popular hunt cartridge. But the 308 gives you 3030 is another one, 7mm, 270. Those are pretty much the main hunting cartridges in Canada. But the thing about these is that this really doubles back as, I would hunt with this, I would keep this one for defense. Not that you can't hunt with it, but because the ammo's not as easy to replenish when there's no manufacturing of it. But again, if you could do reloads and stuff like that, string it out a little bit longer. But if you can, not have to shoot anything, and conserve your ammo, the better. Now, let's move on to the last one. I know I spent a lot more time on that, but this one is just more from the hunting aspect, and it needed a little bit more time on it. And it doesn't really matter which one you get. It's just as long as you have it, right? This is more about the calibers and the platforms. A 22, the most common round on the planet, next to probably 9mm and 308. Even 7.62 by 39 is not as popular as people think it is. It's popular in the Soviet bloc, but, yeah, people shoot it here in North America. But 308, 96 countries adopted the FNFAL, so there's a lot of 308 ammunition out there. Maybe the 7.62 by 39 is a little more common now, but North America, 308 is going to be it. But 22, anywhere you go in the world, if there's legal firearms ownership, there's 22s. And cost per shot, I mean, I left the trigger lock on this one, but, this is a good plinking tool. I also recommend BB guns. I should have put my other BB gun in here. People say, oh, this is a great training tool. It is a great training tool. But once the gun shops are all closed from a financial collapse and you can't get ammo anymore, every round you have becomes completely invaluable. To the point where it's not worth it to shoot it unless you necessarily have to. So a 308 round, you might use that on a deer. 50 caliber deer, bear, moose, saber-tooth squirrel, whatever, all the big stuff, Deer, bear, moose for the 308. This, squirrels, partridge, small stuff like that in my area. Your area might have animals that, Now there are people out there that will shoot deer with these. The natives can get away with it. The reserve natives can get away with it. The white guys can't. And in Ontario, I don't think there's any caliber restrictions. To be honest with you, these are all unloaded. Just so you know. Just I didn't want to lock that back with the. But the thing is that it's just not adequate for big game. Yes, it's cheap to shoot, but it's not adequate. So small game, this is okay. Rabbits, that type of thing. Even raccoons, maybe even beaver. A lot of people don't think about beaver. Beaver's a great source of food. I mean, you get an 80-pound beaver, sure, most of it's going to be fat, about 10 pounds of it, but, or 20 pounds of it maybe, but you still get a lot of meat off of beaver. And trust me, you'll get more than enough nourishment, and it's clean meat. Wild meat is clean meat. I've eaten beaver meat; is actually really good. But like all wild meat, you have to know how to cook it. So 3 calibers that I think are really good, and these are semi-automatic. It doesn't matter if these were bolt guns or break barrels or whatever. It's the caliber that's gonna. I mean, 308 is going to be. There's a snap cap here, but this is going to be a very barterable and tradable round in a financial collapse. This bullets and breads. I mean, gold, silver, those things. The way I look at them is this: they're good if you want to trade for land, farms, big things. They're good for leveraging property against gold against the property. Same with the silver and the jewelry and all that stuff. They're good for that, but day-to-day living, I think people are better off to put, instead of buying gold, buy food, storable food. Firearms, bullets, stuff like that. Firearms are not, again, they're not really the big thing. It's the ammunition for them. Again, a flintlock or a matchlock rifle in a Doomsday will probably be the most common thing people will want to use once they come to the realization of that's what people could run in the 1600s, the 1700s, even as early as the 1500s. This is like the third evolution of a firearm, really, in a sense. Well, or the fourth, we'll say the fourth. The first would have been a matchlock rifle. The second would have been a flintlock or matchlock or a wheel lock, and then a flintlock, and then this is a percussion cap. And then right after that, shortly after that, the center fire cartridge and rim fire cartridges came out not too long after that. So, it progressed. But you could run this in the 1700s, 1800s. You know what I'm saying? So these you probably couldn't run very long in the 1700s or 1800s due to the fact that you would have to know how to reload. Even black powder pistols, I'm hopefully going to be joining the gun range next week. There's still a bit of a process to go through, but one of the things I do out of the handguns I'm going to get is probably an 1850 or 1860s, Colt, basically Civil War era revolvers, which were all black powder. But again, they shot a lead ball. They didn't shoot cartridges. So again, it's something to consider. But I think a 22 is a must-have. Mid-calibers, 30-06, if you're in Canada or the States, 30-06 is definitely going to be the most numerous hunting rifle cartridge in Canada. 308, you got the target shooters and in law enforcement, military, so you get a bit of a dual. Very few people target shoot with 30-06, you know what I mean? It's, unless you have an M1 Grand, everybody pretty much uses 308 or 223. Or 7.62 by 39. So those are very common calibers, but I think the 308 gives you the best all around. So anyway, just something to consider. Rate, subscribe, post to your Facebook. Tell me what you guys think. Okay, it's a bit of a rainy day out there. It's raining cats and dogs. Well, not really, because that'd be really noisy, Meow, meow, meow. I'd feel bad for the dogs. I don't really care much about the cats, though. Anyway, got Great Plains Hunter here in 5th caliber. Got my Norinco M305 M14 and my VTR 597. Oh, I forgot to put the magazine in. All of them are unloaded. Different rifles for WROL, that type of thing. And even not WROL, financial collapse, whatever you want to call it. Let's say there's just downright a financial collapse, which is, a very, very highly likely thing in this day and age, or extreme austerity to the point where you just cannot eat. What are advantages of different calibers and stuff like that in that type of scenarios? Well, that's economy shooting. This is practical, and that thing just shoots out kill rounds. It makes big holes. You're going from your 30 caliber, your 20 caliber, 30 caliber, 50 caliber. You know what I'm saying? The thing is with the black powder rifles. Are they reliable enough? I think they're reliable enough. In fact, they have a lot of huge advantages in the sense that you don't have to worry about brass casings. Technically, the barrel is the casing. So you reload these things by making black powder. The only downside to these, unless you have a flintlock, which I'm eventually going to get a flintlock. If you have a flintlock, you don't have to worry as much because you can make a flint, or find flint on the ground. Even if it only works for one shot, it's a very low-tech system, kind of works no matter what. Black powder's really not that different. It's basically